Yes, people, how we doing, man? Welcome back to another stream, and we're going to have a bit of a debate today, man. A bit of a debate, something slightly different, talking about Gvardiol. Now, there's a couple of rumours going around that Gvardiol, so Man City, is back on. Of course, we heard that Man City, or Leipzig rather, were not going to not going to sell Gvardiol. They were the rumours, even if a bid of 100 million quid was put on the table. Some news has come out over the last 24 hours that actually Man City might be able to get him out of Leipzig. And we're going to have a debate about whether we should actually get Gvardiol. You know what I mean? We've got Ake, who's playing really, really well. It's going to be a lot of money. That's the conversation. Make sure you get involved. Today, joining me, as always, got Hugh with me, and I've got MCFC lads.
Hey.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here.
Good, man. Good. Right. Okay. First of all, big up to the guys at BetVictor. They sponsored today's video. You guys know that they've got their own YouTube channel. They always upload their own content during the week. Premier League focus, not just about City. Booth is on there giving it a big wind up. So if you want to go and check it out, links in the description. I'll play you a little clip in there for a minute. Make sure you drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel as well, and subscribe to MCFC lads. You can just go to the description and click it, or it's in the title if you've refreshed. Okay, boys. We're in a situation, right, where our defense right now is solid, right? Yeah, I think we can all pretty much agree with that. I mean, we just kept a clean sheet against Bayern Munich, yeah? But Laporte, let's be honest, Laporte's gone at the end of this season, right? Is Gvardiol the right option? I mean, for me, boys, I actually really like Gvardiol. I think he'd suit the Premier League. I think he's physical. He's not the slowest. He's quite quick. He's great on the ball as well. I think he'd suit City and he'd suit the Premier League. But do we need to be spending 85, 90 million quid on Gvardiol when you've got Ake, who right at the minute, if you give me Ake or Gvardiol, it's Ake. Do we need to be spending this money?
You go on.
You?
To be fair, I don't see it for me. Like, it's too much to be spending on a defender when, as you've said, at the start of the season, there's a conversation to be had. But with Ake playing at the level he's playing at, and with the options we've got so many defenders at the moment. Like a few seasons ago, we had no centre backs. Now you've pretty much got five good ones that can play there. So for me, Gvardiol, I'm not sure about 90 million. I'm not sure about 100 million. Maybe if the price is a bit lower, it might be worth going for. But for me, I think it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
For me, I see us pursuing and continuing with this back three sort of shape of Ake, Diaz, and Akanji. And I really, really like that combination. I think they complement each other really well, and they clearly feed off each other. They clearly enjoy playing together. And I can see Stones continuing in the role he's in right through next season. What that spells for Kyle Walker, I don't really know. I've said the whole way through the season, there's little or no reality in holding on to 3 and 4 world-class centre-halves all at one time. So it doesn't come as a shock that Laporte, I think we've all seen the post he put up after the Bayern Munich game. I think he's basically saying, listen, I love it here. No disrespect to anybody. I've enjoyed my time, but it's time I left. Doesn't come as a surprise to me. So for me, going and buying Gvardiol, who will cost 80 to 100 million, is not what we need. We don't need a player coming in who won't be happy with that role of rotating with Ake. And I'm with you. Right now, I'm picking Ake over him because they're both left-sided. We need a player, maybe a younger one, or sorry, I know he's young, a cheaper one, who will understand his role and he wants to learn his craft. He's happy to rotate, wait for his opportunities. Gvardiol, if he's to leave Leipzig, he's going somewhere where he's the main left-sided centre-half or left-back, whatever. That's where he's going. His next step is being the main man in defence. Being someone's Ruben Diaz, we can't give that to him right now. So I think, to put it bluntly, it would be a massive, massive waste of money. Top player, but we don't have the room for him.
Yeah, and again, I think this is all down to Nathan Ake. I think Nathan Ake, for me, has changed my opinion of what we should do this summer with the centre-backs. If we're going to continue to run this 3 at the back system, which, to be fair, we might not do. We might not do next season, who knows? But it's working well right now, so I would guess that's how we would sort of look to run next season. Then, yeah, I agree, man. It just seems like a hell of a lot of money. And I see ID in the chat, but you want a good player, you got to pay big money. I get that, but 90 million quid, that's not a rotation player. You've got to be playing. You can't be on the bench if you cost 90 million quid. There's other options out there. I've seen Ndicka. I know he's been linked with Liverpool quite a bit. Obviously, free transfer from Frankfurt. Could you go and get him? If Ake's your starter, we need to be getting a player in who's, can push Ake and obviously, cause some sort of improvement in Ake's performance because he knows he's under pressure. But to go and get Gvardiol and just tell him you're starting on the bench, Ake's not made a mistake this season. So what we're going to do, tell Gvardiol, start on the bench, and as soon as Ake goes through a rough part of form or makes a mistake, you're in. Well, we're looking at this season and going, well, when's that going to happen? Because Ake's been phenomenal this year. It's just, I don't know, man. I like Gvardiol, I just think Ake, and earlier in the season, I was fully game for this. Transfer, but Ake's changed my views on what City should do. Big up to Recep. He said all City centre-backs are better than Gvardiol. Just saying. From Recep with a 249. I don't know. I do like Gvardiol. I think Gvardiol's a good player, man. But like I say, he's going to cost a lot. Have you guys got any sort of names that you could throw in the hat of like?
Well, I've got a thought to just kind of throw your way. I'm not sure if you've thought about this. I was chatting to a few City fans before the game the other day. They were saying that you basically got Harwood Bellis, that of course won't be playing as left back. But if you've got a Laporte leaving, you do need some sort of replacement. And he's got, I believe, a couple years of experience now under company at 2 different teams. And he definitely has got a lot more experience than he did when he was like that 18-year-old guy playing away at Preston, etc. And he had a couple of games here and there in the cup, but he's beefed out, but he's got that solid experience and he's pretty much won the championship as one of their key players at the back. So potentially bringing him back in as like a number 5 centre-back could work.
You've got Callum Doyle as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm really glad that Luke said that because that was literally going to be my shout. I was thinking if we're to bring in another centre-half to take that Laporte spot in the squad, I'd rather to be an up-and-coming centre-half with potential who's young. And you know the way we always say things like, oh, send X and Y out to a championship team and see how he gets on there? Howard Bellis has done that and passed it with flying colours. I think he's earned the right to come in and fight for a place in the Manchester City squad. He's built that wealth of experience in a very physical league under a manager that we trust with our lives. I think he's earned the right for that opportunity. We don't need to go out and spend 90 million on a centre half who will demand more than what Taylor Howard-Bellis would. Howard-Bellis will understand his role coming into the squad, and being a City boy, he'd be willing to work hard for it as well. I think he'll push the lads who are currently starting.
I think Callum Doyle could be the one though, because he's obviously left-footed. He's better on the ball than Howard-Bellis. I think he'd suit a Pep Guardiola side more, and he's probably got even more experience than Taylor Howard-Bellis because he's been on loan for 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? I don't know how many games he's played, competitive games, but he's only like 19, 20, and he's already played a lot, and obviously he's done very, very well. And when you listen to fans of the clubs that he's been at, Sunderland and Coventry, they absolutely rave about him, about Callum Doyle. And I've watched a few. I've actually never seen him play in a game, which is disappointing. But I've seen highlights and shit, and he is extremely good on the ball. He could be one that's good. I actually really like Howard-Bellis. I've always rated him, and I kind of wanted him to be given a go before he went. But I think because it's Laporte, it suits Callum Doyle a little bit more, just with him being left-sided as well, left-footed.
Yeah.
But Howard-Bellis is certainly a good player. Like Tommy in the chat there says Doyle is literally Laporte 2.0. I mean, Cal says, I saw Callum Doyle play for England under 20s. He was brilliant on the left-hand side, and a goal came from his side too.
Do you know what it is, though? I don't think we need to go out and get as close to a like for like to Laporte as possible. We don't need to go and get a Laporte 2.0. The beauty of all of our defenders is they can all play in any side. I'd happily play Ruben Diaz on left side centre half if we needed to. All of these players are good enough and versatile enough that you can move them around. I think we just need to get someone that has potential and as a competent centre half, as a competent defender that has room for growth and development, like I said. So it doesn't need to be someone. We don't need to look at specifically a left-hand sided player or a ball-playing centre half. It doesn't need to be anything specific. Just someone who can grow into a Manchester City shirt.
Do you know if we are going to run the 3 at the back? Do we not need a proper 5th centre back rather than youth? Because I kind of get it when you're playing a 4 at the back, right? And you've got 2 full-backs and 2 centre-backs. I kind of get that, like, the 5th centre-back should be a youth player. Is there not an argument, though, when you're playing 3 at the back, 3 centre-halves, and actually we're kind of playing 4 because John Stones is also playing, do you actually not need 5 proper, competent centre-backs rather than taking that gamble on a youth player, Luke? What are you saying?
Well, we've seen, my response to that would be, maybe you do. If you get an injury, you could be in trouble, but you're always going to be in trouble with injuries. Somebody like Kyle Walker can definitely play that far back, even at a push. Rodri, if we needed to, could play there. I'm not sure about Calvin Phillips, but we saw him pre-season. I'm pretty sure he played one of the games there off the bench. So we have got options. They're not out and out centre backs, but there's definitely options we've got where, if we get an injury, pick up a bit of a niggle or something, we can stick somebody there as a a needs must situation. So maybe not.
I just think with the injuries concerns that we have with John Stones, I'm still not set on Akanji. I think he's done really well this season, and I do like him. But I still think that there could be moments next season where if we don't get a proper centre half in, that you could be looking at it and going, we should have really pulled the trigger. And the cash is apparently there. The cash is there. It's just for me, I wouldn't spend the 90 million. I'd be looking at maybe going up to sort of 50, finding a player who's a little bit versatile, who can come in there and just sort of play. Kind of like another Akanji, funny enough. Kind of like someone who's just not that expensive, ain't great at much, but is good at pretty much everything. And he could just come in and he understands the role. You go and get Gvardiol, you're spending 90 million quid. And that might not even get him out the football club, by the way, because there are rumours that Leipzig are like, nah, he's not going regardless. And, you don't want to, you've seen what happens with Cancelo. You don't want players to come in who want to be playing, who probably should be playing based on their levels, and are on the bench and then start to cause problems. I think we're very lucky with Laporte. I feel like 100%, don't get me wrong, Laporte's definitely had words with Pep Guardiola behind the scenes and said, look, what's going on? And I think that's probably why he's not playing. But he doesn't seem to be causing any issues. He's always on social media after the games, praising the team and proper enthusiastic about it. I think we've got quite lucky with him. You look at Cancelo, Look at what's going on. What's going on with him? You know, he's clearly not happy. He wasn't happy not playing games. He was our 7th most played player, and he gets off. This is the problem. This is why I always say buying backup players is actually harder than buying first team players. It's right, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You buy a first team player, go and get Gvardiol 90 million, no problem. You want to buy a backup player? It's difficult because you got to look at the profile. You got to look at how the player thinks about when they're bench. How did they come in? They've not played 4 games in a row. Can he throw them into a big game? You know, it can be kind of difficult. Carl in the chat says Ndicka over Gvardiol. Have either of you two lads seen much of?
I can't say I'm an Ndicka expert, to be fair.
No, I can't say. I mean, let's be honest. I hear big reports about him. A lot of people are big fans of him. I just don't watch enough of. It's Frankfurt, isn't it? He plays for Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah, he's out of contract as well, bro. Free transfer.
I know they have a pretty sick team, Frankfurt. That team that won the Europa League last year. They have a lot of players that a lot of big clubs in Europe are looking at. So they're going to make big cash, I'd say, this summer off a lot of their players. But this Ndicka guy, like you said, if he's up for a free, I might have to get up his skills, compilations, and highlights and all that kind of thing.
Funny, man. Guys, we'll continue this conversation in a second. First, a message from our sponsor.
What do you make of Lampard being reappointed? To me, I was just baffled by it. I didn't get it at all.
It stinks of being the biggest catastrophe of any major club in the history of modern football. I mean, Chelsea are an absolute Titanic. They're sinking quicker than anything. They're closer to the relegation zone than they've probably ever been in modern history. They're going to get absolutely piped by Real Madrid. They're going to lose 10-0 on aggregate across both games, in my opinion. It's a travesty. And ultimately, look, Frank Lampard, all jokes aside, he came in. He hasn't had enough time to work with the players, but the performance on the weekend was so abject. It says a lot about the actual Chelsea players that they're not playing for the shirt. And, whether it was Ancelotti managing those group of players or Frank Lampard, the Chelsea players have to be held accountable. But I think it comes from the top. I think the Chelsea players have no idea who's going to be the manager from next day to next. All the players that have come in, they don't fit. For me, they don't fit. I think Mudryk to Enzo Fernandez. You still got Thiago Silva kicking about there. Kepa's still in goal. It's an absolute mess at Chelsea. I think they'd be lucky to score against Real Madrid.
Yo, big up to the guys there at Last Fan Standing, Bet Victor. Link is in the description if you want to watch the full video. I actually watched the game last night. You know what? On a real, I didn't actually think Chelsea played that badly. I thought they weren't great, but
they had a couple of chances, didn't they, early on? Felix and
Sterling doing his standard shit as well. You know what I mean? Missing, he should have probably had a goal, but yes, it's pretty crazy. Guys, go check the video out. Links in the description and pinned comment there. And I know he actually sent you. Make sure you smash a like on their video, subscribe to their channel as well if you're new. Right, cool. I want to start bringing this to a close then on this Gvardiol conversation. What are you guys doing then? Are you getting Taylor Howard-Bellis? Is that what you're Pep Guardiola now? Yeah, I'm gonna give my answer. I want your answers first. You're Pep Guardiola. Laporte's gone, right? Don't care about the fee. He goes whatever the fee is, right? You've got Ake, Diaz, Stones, and Akanji. What are you doing? You're Pep Guardiola. Hugh, what are you saying?
I'm ringing Vinny Company and I'm breaking him some bad news. I'm saying, unfortunately, Vinny, we love you dearly, but the kid's done well, and I think it's time he stepped up. He'll still be here by the time you're in charge. But you know what I'm saying, I want Taylor Howard-Bellis, man. I don't think we need to go out and spend big cash. I think this kid's got massive potential. I've been a massive fan of Howard-Bellis since he was playing in the FA Youth Cup a few years ago. He was vice captain behind Tommy Doyle. I remember they were playing up against that sick Chelsea youth team with Tino Livramento and all them. I love the look of Howard-Bellis. I said he has the makings of a proper City centre half. He's gone out, worked in his trade. And I think he'd just be a good fit for the squad. He'll understand his role because I don't think it's life and death with a centre half. I think I can see Kyle Walker playing a role whereby he could rotate with Diaz, he could rotate with Stones. He's one of those players that you can start him in games. Obviously, he's not at a point where he can't start, but he can still rotate with multiple players. And then Howard-Bellis can supplement that too. It's so hard to find a backup player because it's about personality at that stage of the player you're talking about. That player has to understand that when they come to Manchester City, they're not a main starter, and they have to be cool with that. But you also want them to have the motivation to push the starting players, like Akanji has, like Ake has. So it's so tricky. I think Howard-Bellis ticks all those boxes. He'll understand that he has the ability, and he'll be drip fed time, and we'll see it over the next 12-18 months, I think.
So you're Howard-Bellis. Are you in the same camp? You're now Pep Guardiola, lads.
Well, Well, I'm partially in the Hugh camp. I think he's definitely an option. And as you said, Callum Doyle as well, definitely an option. But I think you've just got to look around. Obviously, we don't know anything compared to what people know behind the scenes. There's definitely names on a sheet somewhere that they're looking at. And I think we probably will pick someone up. Where did that Akanji deal even come from? Nobody had heard anything. Suddenly one day there's like a City going to sign Akanji in the next. Do you know what I mean? That's sometimes how City do business. That's how Ruben Diaz came in. That's how Akanji came in. And if it's United, everybody knows who United are going to sign months before it happens because that's what they do. It's a bit stupid, but they end up egging the prices up for themselves. City operate quite smoothly sometimes. And hopefully there's just something like that. Hopefully we just sign somebody that's decent, 30 million, whatever. I think that is what will happen if Laporte goes. But definitely Harwood Bellis is an option. But I could definitely see signing someone else as well.
So if you're Pep, which one are you doing?
I think, in my opinion, both. I think there's definitely going to be injuries. We're going to have a lot of games as we have this season. The new system, 3 centre-backs essentially, plus John Stones. So you do need a lot of defenders. Cancelo, very, very, almost certain he's not going to play for City again. So in terms of moving to that system, we've sort of, even though we've gone into that system, we're almost forced into it now. We've not really got an option to play a flat back 4 anymore that much. So if you can, I reckon both.
Interesting. I'd probably I'd need to look at Callum Doyle and see what he's sort of saying because he's left-footed and he just might be a little bit more suited to the system of Harwood Bellis. But either of them, I'm kind of game for. Walker's. We've not really spoke that much about Walker, but Walker's clearly a player that's like, can play right-sided centre-back in my opinion. I know Pep Gvardiol said the other day he can't play in this sort of system, but I think he meant the inverted role rather than you're not telling me he can't play in the Kanji position, right? Because he's done that for England plenty of times. So, I might be happy with that. I don't even know if we necessarily need to replace him, but I know for a fact that if we don't and then someone gets injured, I'm going to be like, why don't we replace him? So it's kind of tricky. Big up to JV with a super chat says Esbran going to be back as left back. It helps. I think he was actually at the game the other night as well, watching City versus Bayern.
He got Coventry man of the match in a 2-2 draw at Watford as well. At home to Watford. I seen
that. Buzzing.
He's doing all right.
Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit of a conversation for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel. Go and check out MCFC Lads. The link is in the description. It's in the title as well. So you can just click on it, subscribe. You at 100k yet, bro? What?
No, 99.2k. Not
Jesus. Come on, man. Come on,
guys.
Get it smashed out. Guys, do not go anywhere. We've got a video premiering right now about the future of Cole Palmer. Big conversation. Me, Jordy Pordy, and Hugh. It's going live in the next minute. You'll be automatically redirected. So don't go anywhere. And we'll see you in the next one. See you in a bit.